Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, publisher of the beloved Aspire magazine, inspiring women to live their best life since 2006. I am so excited today to have a special guest with me. I have been a friend and follower of Lisa Manyon for over a decade. She's been on many of my events, on my radio show, but on a completely different subject. In the past, it's always been about highlighting her brilliance as in marketing and as president of Right On Creative. Well, today, my friends, we're in for a special treat. Lisa is joining me to share her experience with facing mortality and being guided to write her brand new book, Spiritual Sugar, The Divine Ingredients to Heal Yourself with Love. Lisa is also a writer, consultant, and as I mentioned earlier, a president of Right On Creative. She pioneered the values-based challenge solution invitation communication framework to create marketing messages with integrity by focusing on passion points. She is a cancer thriver who believes in healing with love. Welcome, Lisa.
Thanks so much. It is my absolute pleasure to be here. I am just so grateful to be alive and grateful to be able to share this story and hopefully inspire many.
Well, you know, I always love to ask my clients, how did your journey begin? So bring us back to that time when you first heard the words so that we can understand the journey that led you to where you are today.
Yes, the Healing with Love journey has been quite an experience. And interestingly enough, it started prior to me even hearing the three words, you have cancer or it is cancer. I can't remember which three. Either way, that combination of words is something that I don't ever want anyone else to have to hear. And I understand that that's a huge aspiration. And at the same time, it's really important for us to take control of our health. So even prior to the diagnosis, what happened was I was divinely guided that something was coming. 2 years prior to my diagnosis, in 2015, I received a divine download. I sometimes call them God nudges or my spidey senses, that I was to write a book and that it was going to be called Spiritual Sugar. And at the time, I thought, what? Who, me? What do I know about healing? I don't think I'm healed. And I journaled about it and set it aside. So fast forward to sitting in inquiry, going through all kinds of doctor's appointments, trying to figure out what was going on with me, being misdiagnosed with an abscessed tooth when in fact I had a tumor growing in my throat. You know, there was a lot of uncertainty and a lot of questioning, but there was also an unwavering faith and knowing that I was going to be okay no matter what, and that I was going to heal this with love. So when those three words were uttered to me, I was prepared for the fact that either I had cancer or I did not. And in this case, I did. And it was an aggressive throat cancer that was actually, cutting off my windpipes. At the time when I first went into the ear, nose, and throat specialist, the tumor had grown rapidly to over 2 centimeters big, about the size of a walnut, and was beginning to shut off my airway. So I knew there was something really big going on. And thankfully, I did trust my intuition, and I didn't listen to the misdiagnosis that it was an abscessed tooth, because had I have, it was growing so rapidly, I likely would have just trusted and not pushed for other answers, and I probably would not be here today.
Divine intuition. I think it's a spiritual gift, right? It's a gift from our divine, but it's up to us to listen to it. And I'm so grateful, my friend, that you chose to listen.
Oh, I am so grateful too. And not only was it divine guidance, I also see the whole journey as being a miracle. And so many people think, why do you think that getting cancer was a miracle or a gift? And some people think I'm a little crazy when I say that. And the truth of the matter is, it helped me tap more deeply into my faith and my connection with Source, which has always been very, very um, connected. But this brought me so much closer because I knew, I had two choices. I could lean into love and faith, or I could lean into fear.
Exactly. It's really all comes down to choice, isn't it? Because for years, my journey for the first 30 years was I lived in fear and anxiety until I did this, stepped on the spiritual path and learned, hey, there's a whole other way of where we can focus our energy. So I love that you realize that in that moment is like, I'm going to heal with love. I am not going to tap into the fear of the diagnoses and all the big words and all of that. And my personal journey over the last 3 years with me and Dana, it's staying focused on the blessings is my favorite saying. I see the blessings, not the bullshit. And it's kind of what you chose to do, right? Is I'm going to focus on love. I'm going to focus on possibility. I'm going to focus on my intention and not the fear-based energies that are around that word, right? Because that word is so triggering.
Well, it is
The C word.
completely, yes, it is completely triggering, and many people view it as a death sentence, and it does not have to be. There are things that we can do, and there are things in our power that we can do to. And my wish is that we can all become so healthy that we avoid it altogether. I mean, clearly, I've already experienced it, so there's that. But I'm talking about humanity in general. There are so many things that we can do to course correct our health and the way that we are showing up and being. And it's important to share this message with the world in a big way, because I was really lucky that I was tapped in spiritually and have this connection to the divine, because I was told specifically while I'm sitting in my office, sitting in inquiry, wondering, oh my gosh, what's going on? Am I just being delusional? And I got a message that said, don't worry, you will heal this with love. And at that moment, it reminded me that 2 years prior, I had gotten that big God nudge that I was supposed to write a book about healing with love called Spiritual Sugar. I went and pulled out that journal, found that entry, and I got full body chills. And I was like, okay, this is a part of my purpose, and I definitely have to do this. Bought the domain name on the spot. It was still available, because that's what happens when things are divinely guided, divinely inspired. And I started chronicling my story and kind of building the brand while healing, because I knew I was going to come out on the other side. I knew I was going to be a different and better person. And I knew that I was going to have a really beautiful story to share with the world.
Yeah, and it's like I know from our conversations, even though you didn't see what it would look like, you also knew you had a big mission to fulfill. You didn't know the end of your journey, but you were like, I am going to follow all the breadcrumbs, because you and I have known each other a long time. So I've watched you follow all the spiritual breadcrumbs to bring this to life. It was like staying in trust, knowing you were being led, knowing you were being divinely supported. So just wanted to say, Lisa, from the outside looking in, it's been beautiful to watch you come to that place of truth with trust.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you don't always see it. But you're right about those breadcrumbs. And I also call it like following the threads, because I followed all of the threads. And I was also guided to know that I would be shown the right path every step of the way. And what was shown to me is that the path for me was not chemo and radiation. I did have 2 major surgeries, but everything else can be attributed to faith, spirituality, energy healing, eating pure food, drinking pure water, and completely resetting the way that I show up in the world. And sometimes I joke, and we've known each other for a long time, so you'll completely get this, is that I quit my 4 favorite food groups cold turkey, coffee, wine, chocolate, and cheese. At one point, I honestly thought that alone would kill me, but it didn't. It made me feel a lot healthier. Now, of course, I will indulge in those things, but in moderation. I have eliminated sugar from my diet. I don't do processed sugar at all. On rare occasion, I will. Every once in a while, I'll treat myself to a dessert or something like that. But in general, I don't don't use it in my cooking. I don't use it in my foods. I really check to make sure that it's not in anything that I'm ordering. And, for anyone listening, if you're in the grocery store and you pick up a package of supposed food and you cannot pronounce what is in the ingredients, it's probably not good for you and probably not even really truly food.
Oh, believe me, I'm on that journey now. After my second surgery this summer, I just went sugar-free. I broke up with sugar, you can say. I think it's going to be 6 weeks now. I have never felt better. The weight just released right off, even though that wasn't the purpose. And I'm sleeping better than ever. And I was a sugar addict, Lisa. I loved, 3 heaping tablespoons in my morning coffee, and I'd have 3 coffees a day. Never mind craving bread and carbs. So I completely agree. That one thing, I'm already feeling the difference. So as you made changes to your diet, that was part of loving and nourishing yourself, right?
Absolutely. And it's so interesting because as I did that, and of course, walking in nature was a big part of it. And you and I both have a deep love for nature. But as I started, releasing all of these things that weren't good for me from my diet and spending time walking every day, I released almost 40 pounds. And that's a lot of weight to be carrying around. Technically, I was actually obese, which is embarrassing for me to say now, but it's a good thing for me to tell people because I carried it well. And I didn't realize how sick I had become. And people will say to me, oh my gosh, you got sick and so you lost so much weight. And I say, no, I got healthy, so I lost weight.
Exactly. And part of what I've learned from my healing experience is a lot of times that weight, that extra weight, whatever it is, 10 pounds, 50 pounds or more, a lot of times it's inflammation because we're not nurturing our body with the food it needs, right? And so for me, I believe it was, oh, she released sugar. I don't have to hold on to this protective layer, and it just released. It was magical. And I know I'm only 6 weeks on the journey, but my cravings are gone. So I want to take a break, Lisa, because I want to be able to really dive in without having to interrupt you. So let's take a break, my friends. I want to invite everyone to visit spiritualsugar.com, grab a copy of her book, Spiritual Sugar, The Divine Ingredients to Heal Yourself with Love. We'll be back in a moment to continue this inspiring conversation.
This is OTRFM, part of the IOM radio network.
Inspiration for a Woman's Soul. Aspire Magazine, inspiring and supporting women on the path of self-discovery. Claim your free digital subscription today, which includes access to thousands of dollars of personal development bonus gifts from Team Inspiration partners. Claim your Aspire Magazine subscription today at subscribetoaspire.com.
Hey America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTRFM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
This is OTRFM, part of the IOM radio network.
Welcome back, my friends. I am honored that you're circling up with myself and guest Lisa Manyon. We're talking about Healing with Love and her personal journey through facing mortality and being guided to write her new book, Spiritual Sugar. So you were just talking about the changes that you were led to make in your life. That led organically to weight loss and new decisions. With every decision you made, it's almost like a new layer would be shed to help you on the healing process. So what happened internally? So we know you were taking care of yourself physically. How did this healing journey, healing through cancer, empower you spiritually?
Oh my goodness. It amplified my spiritual connection on such a deep level because all I could do was lean into faith and believe that I would heal with love and that everything would be okay. And the interesting thing is, prior to 100% choosing that, I had a conversation with the creator and I said, all right, if this is it, thank you. But I don't think it is. I think we've got more work to do. So show me what that is. And I really was okay, meaning I had reached this place of acceptance of like, okay, if this is it, I've had a really great life. Certainly there are some things that I still want to do. But it was a peaceful calm. It was really strange. It was like, I know no matter what, either way, it's all going to be okay. So I had my internal compass was so guided by the threads of faith and just knowing and trusting that, it was going to be all right. I didn't have another choice. Well, that's not true. I did have a choice. I could have rolled into the fear. I could have shared what was going on with me more publicly because I have a large social media following. But I chose to keep this very quiet within my sacred sphere of influence because it's really important. You and I both talk about energetics a lot. The energetics of healing is important. And I didn't want anyone in that sacred sphere of influence who might be questioning my decision to heal with love or being skeptical or being fearful because that energy could impact my healing. And many people after the fact said to me, Lisa, we really would have liked to know, we've been connected on social media for such a long time. We would want to support. And the thing about that is that so many people are well-meaning and want to support, and they want to share the solutions that they themselves would choose. And that might be something mainstream that I chose not to pursue. And I didn't need all of that outside interference. This was truly between me and the creator. And it was up to me to strengthen and deepen that trust and that faith and to seriously follow that divine guidance that was given to me every step of the way.
Yeah, it's powerful, isn't it? And it's creating that energetic container. I did something similar, though we walked that journey different last year when I was hospitalized. I didn't tell anyone for 10 days, remember?
I do remember.
Yeah, I was in the hospital 10 days and never said a word to anyone. And you and I are close. And I did it for those same reasons. And then I think it was on day 10, I remember hearing from the divine, because I was critical for 5 of those days. I remember hearing from the divine because my white blood count wouldn't go down and they wouldn't release me. And I remember going, oh yeah, well, I got a tribe of spiritual warriors. But what I did, Lisa, and it's about energy and intention, so you beautifully covered that. I remember making the post saying, I need you all to focus on one thing and one thing only, seeing my white blood count come down. I do not want any guidance, advice, or any other stuff. Like I set my energetic boundaries. And guess what? Through the power of collective intentions, it dropped, I think it was 6,000 points by the next morning. And when the doctor came in, he said, this can't be right. We got to test you again. I go, oh, no, it's right. And I finally got out 3 days later. So I kept it quiet. So those important healing days, I had to be in my spiritual power, like you had to be in your spiritual power.
I love that you shared that because another interesting thing occurred, when I was going through all of this after the biopsy, I had to do a PET scan. And that's where they kind of pump you full of radioactive gunk so that they can see if it's full of sugar, so that they can see what lights up if there's any cancer left in the body. Now I knew that was coming up. And so I did a bunch of energetic healing work using singing bowls, all kinds of things, did some amazing timeline therapy, hypnotherapy work to set the intentions that it would be clear. And when I went and had that PET scan, it was clear. And the doctors had not seen anything like that before. Now, I still chose to do surgery because my ENT specialist said to me, Lisa, we haven't seen this before. And at the same time, I am the person that was in there that removed that tumor. And if it were me, I would make sure that we remove those margins. And for people who don't know, the margins are anything that's surrounding the area where a tumor or some type of cancerous growth might have been. So they'll go in and they'll surgically remove that to minimize the chance of any type of recurrence. And I had to meditate on that quite a bit, but I asked him specifically if it was what he had told me that's if it were him, that's what he would do. But I asked all of my doctors if it is what they would do for their own wife or child or significant other. And he said yes. So I meditated and prayed on that a lot and decided to go ahead and do that. And so I had 2 surgeries. I had a transoral robotic surgery where they put a little robot down my throat and removed the margins. And they also did a neck dissection to check my lymph nodes to make sure nothing had, inadvertently or mysteriously jumped the blood and brain barrier and gotten in there, because that's when it can actually spread more rapidly throughout your body. And thankfully, both of those things were clear. And it took me a lot of time and thought to decide if I was going to do that, because I already felt like it was clear and the PET scan already showed that it was clear. And at the same time, I did want to be cautious because I'm not ruling out Western medicine. I love Western medicine in many ways. I just wanted to do what was absolutely best for me and use as many natural healing modalities as I possibly could.
I'm with you. I'm both. I'm not one or the other. I'm and. Right? Because medical intervention saved my life last year. Is it something I would have chosen in the moment when I went through it? No, but I'm so grateful it was there. And since then, I've taken all the natural stuff to boost my immune system to heal and come back fully, right? So I'm so grateful for the and or. But like you, it's all about energy for me. So even when they would come in the room with the IVs the first couple of days, they go, oh, you knew whatever the bag of medicine was. I'd say, can we recalibrate here? I said, I don't want you walking in my room saying, here's a new bag of whatever the new drug is. I said, that's my magical elixir. I said, and every day my granddaughter's going to pick a color. And sometimes she wants sparkles in it. And she's going to let us know what color that my magical elixir is today. Those nurses honored and appreciated. So every day they come in, or really it was 4 times a day, they'd come in going, Linda, what color is your magical elixir? And I would energetically set the tone so that medicine wasn't going in my body, Lisa. Love was, healing was, energy was. Did you feel that too? Like as they were operating, you held the intention. It wasn't that they were operating, they were healing you.
Absolutely. And it's so important, and our minds are so powerful, I think, and mindset and intention and energy. When I went in, they told me, you will be leaving the hospital with a feeding tube. And I said, when I went in, oh no, I will not. I will be healing so that I am not dealing with a feeding tube, because honestly, it just freaked me out. And they said, no, I think you're going to go home with one. And I was in there, I think it was 6 days, and I intentionally healed. Of course, I also had some essential oils and things like that I was putting in my water to drink and doing different things that I personally do to amplify my wellness. And I would make sure that I would start eating soft things and being able to, I specifically asked for, I think it was cream of rice. I asked for soup. I asked for things that would start that healing process on my throat, because I absolutely refused to go home with a feeding tube. That just was not in the trajectory of what I had planned.
I love it. And our intention and our mindset is so strong. Over the last, even before my first surgery, I'd say that it's been 10 months. I have 2 dear friends and a cousin all diagnosed with cancer. And I'm their spiritual mindset and recalibration coach on navigating that. 2 of them are in business. And it's all about mindset. And they say, Lynn, one is serious, it's my cousin. They said, how do you stay positive when you're hearing this stuff? And I said, we give energy to the words we hear. We don't have to choose the energy that others give, like in this case, to the word cancer. Did you find that too? Like that word is so damn triggering that it puts people immediately into fear. And I've witnessed it with them. And I help them recalibrate to give it their own energy and to take their power back. So talk about that, Lisa, because I think it's so important.
It really is. There is big energy around all of it. That's why I called my journey the Healing with Love journey, and really focused on that. That's why I really try to avoid saying my cancer, because I didn't want to own it. It wasn't mine. It was an uninvited guest that needed to go. I gave it lots of love and sent it away. And yeah, and I can't take full credit for that. Louise Hay, rest her beautiful soul. I know that she'd been on the cover of Aspire magazine in the past.
Yes, and you have too, my friend.
I know. And so she's someone that I really, have respected and admired for a very long time. And she has an audio about healing cancer that I listen to over and over again. And she really brought that awareness to my attention. This isn't yours. It's something that's manifested in your body for multiple reasons. And there's so many different types of cancer, and it can be caused by so many different things, including repressed emotions and different things like that, that her work really helped me through the journey. And it was really sad for me because right after my surgery and, coming through everything, and my surgery was in August of 2017, and I believe it was in February of 2018 that Louise passed away. And I still tap into her energy as one of my most trusted guides.
Yeah, it's powerful, isn't it? In her book, I think it's You Can Heal Your Life, and I think she has one, You Can Heal Your Body. I remember picking up 30 years ago when I started on my path. That book is life-changing. I've given it so many times to gifts. And whether someone listening right now, whether your diagnosis is cancer or anything, I love those words, and we're going to take a quick break. Those words that it is not your diagnosis. Like, don't own it. I have this, because then you're calling it in. And we'll talk more about that when we come back with Lisa. In the meantime, visit spiritualsugar.com, grab a copy of her book, and we'll be back in a moment, my friends.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Are you struggling to grow your mission-driven business in a way that feeds your soul and fulfills your purpose? When you discover your unique human design and divine blueprint, you'll feel empowered in your business, aligned with your inner wisdom, and open to the flow of abundance and success. Nancy O'Keefe is a certified human design specialist and intuitive business coach, successfully coaching entrepreneurs for over 25 years. She is passionate about helping you understand your divine design and your personal formula for success. She knows what it takes after creating her own multi-seven-figure firm. Nancy helps women peel back the layers of who they've been taught to be to reveal who they truly are, so they can build an abundant and sustainable business that feeds their soul. Schedule your complimentary call today at nancyokeefecoaching.com.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to invite you to join me for my weekly radio show, Healing Light, on OMTimes Radio every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Healing Light, we want to bring love, light, and blessings into your world. You can find out more about us at www.healinglightonline.com. Blessings.
Me, a cat, moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. With me today is Lisa Manyon, author of the new book, Spiritual Sugar, The Divine Ingredients to Heal Yourself with Love. Louise, we were talking about before the break. She really transformed my life too, so I can really relate to that. So we know that you went through the healing journey. This is 2022. You were diagnosed in 2017. So you've had multiple clean scans, and you and I both know it is done. You are healed. It is done. And that's the energy you hold, because I know every time you go for a scan, we're talking, you really hold that energy.
You have to, because you do get nervous. And we talked a lot about, managing anxiety. And one of the things that I think is really important for listeners to understand is that we do have full capacity to manage our anxiety and our emotions and our stress. And stress is one of the largest things that contributes to any type of illness. So I use all kinds of different modalities to do that. It's really, really important. I do singing bowls and sound healing baths, and of course, walking in nature. And some people call it forest bathing now, which is kind of a fancy name for really getting out in nature. And if that's what you need to do it, or just go walk in nature.
Well, Dana, I'm like you. Dana and I are out, we were out at dusk this morning, walking the trail around the pond, and it soothes our soul. And we're in New England, so winter's going to be closing in, and we were just talking about we're going to get out there even in the winter as long as it's safe to do so. We can't be traipsing through 2 feet of snow, but it feeds our soul so much. And to me, I wish I had connected with nature much younger. That's probably only been in the last 2 decades, and I'm 60 now. I know from all your Facebook posts, it's a big part of your life, because I'm always drooling all over your nature pics. Lithia Park?
Yeah, Lithia Park. Yeah, it's so funny. It has always been a huge part of my life. And recently, I reconnected with a dear friend. We were best friends when we were little girls, and then her family moved away when I think we were around 9, and we didn't ever see each other again. And we didn't even get to say goodbye. But our playground was nature, and we were talking just not too long ago about how we were fearless. We were outside playing all the time, roaming free in the country, because we grew up in a very rural area, and playing with lizards, which I'd never touched today, but all kinds of things. And we had this conversation about how we really feel that both of us developed our spiritual gifts as a result of being so tapped into nature at such a young age.
So powerful. I'm so blessed that our granddaughter is so connected to the animals, nature. I swear, dragonflies just come to her, butterflies follow her. She's been like that since she was little. And I feel so blessed, because I'm like, oh yes, she knows what it feels like to be grounded in nature at a young age, which I didn't have. So Lisa, I want to talk about the book.
Yes.
What can women expect when they pick up a copy of Spiritual Sugar? I know it's part memoir, but it's even so much more than just the story.
It truly is. So it's part memoir, part self-inspiration. I mean, oh my gosh, there are resources galore in the book. What I want people to do is to be able to create their own recipe for healing, which is why it's Spiritual Sugar, the divine ingredients to heal yourself with love, because you can pick and choose what works for you, whether it's journaling and walking in nature. Maybe you don't have nature and available to you immediately outside your door, like I'm blessed to have. And so there are many different things that you can do. So you'll learn about the 7 spiritual sugar principles. You will learn about different tools that you can use to develop your own spiritual practice. And my goal is just to inspire the world to be healthier and happier by tapping into spiritual sugar, which is by definition the inner sweetness of your soul.
So beautiful. And one of the things that you shared with me today, so I'll share, is some pretty amazing people are part of the book. Tell us who wrote your foreword, Lisa.
Yeah, Dr. Joe Vitale wrote the foreword, and I have some really great advanced praise from many other familiar names. And when you grab a copy of the book, you'll see all of that. In fact, the amazing Linda Joy also gave me some beautiful words of advanced praise. And yeah, I feel like it's just a divinely guided project. And when people read it, it activates something inside, deep inside. It's almost like a calling from the soul. You know, we've been looking for things outside of ourselves when in fact we need to go inward first, ask ourselves and ask our body, what do we really need today to heal with love? Because we all need healing. We've all experienced things in our life that have caused us to have to course correct and change the trajectory of our lives and all kinds of things. So my hope is that people will read this book, they'll be inspired by my story, they will be inspired by many of the alternative healing modalities. Some of my friends who aren't as spiritually tapped in like to say my crazy woo-woo stuff, but it's not crazy. It works, and it worked for me, and it could work for you potentially too. You know, I want to be really clear that I am not here to tell anyone how to heal cancer. I am just here to share my story of how I healed cancer with love and how you can take control of your life to be healthier, happier, and more tapped in.
Yes, and the beautiful part is we all have that power to choose that path. And
we really do.
Yeah, and that's empowering to me. It's so empowering because I know what shifting my mindset, my heart, has done for my life over the last, especially the 20 years. I am more at peace than I have ever been. Now, does it mean that life doesn't happen? I don't get hit with curveballs. No, like you, Lisa, I've got hit with my own different curveballs. But, and you've witnessed it, when you live from the place of love and not fear, it's this is how I describe it. Instead of being a weeping willow getting whipped around by life's curveballs, I stand like an oak in my trust and faith in the divine, that whatever will unfold is going to be for my highest and best, and I'm going to be fine.
That is so beautiful.
It's how I feel now. And, you know, I've witnessed your journey. You've just helped me and witness mine. And so we both know the power. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation, bring you in front of my listeners, because sometimes when we hear stuff, I see memes on Facebook, you know, heal with love, live with love. You just bounce it off. And I'm like, no, damn it. I'm going to bring you stories so you can hear from people who are living it, who have navigated hard times by focusing on love and their source. And you're one of the women, Lisa, that I wanted to bring here today.
Thank you so much. And I really want the listeners to know that Spiritual Sugar is designed to inspire you to commit to yourself before you experience a serious health crisis like Linda and I both experienced in our lives, right? My belief is, if we were to learn about many of these tools, including just eating healthier when we were younger, we would be much healthier today. So by chronicling all of these things that I've done and been exposed to in the book Spiritual Sugar, it's my gift to humanity to help wake people up to healing, because we all need more of it.
Oh my God, yes, we do. And the beautiful thing is it comes with one conscious choice at a time, right? And so a lot of people don't want to hear, I know I didn't want to hear choice. Everything is a choice, right? Every thought we can, as soon as we become aware that it's a thought that's not in our highest and best, the moment we have the moment of awareness, like, oh, this is a rancid thought, in that split second, you have the power to change it, choose a new thought. Well, it's like everything else. Every food we put in our body, it's a choice. And I had to relearn, like you did, Lisa, right? Believe me, I never thought I'd give up sugar because I like sugar. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't do any of that. Sugar was my thing, like wine was your thing, Lisa.
Yes.
Carbs and sugar. And I never thought I would give it up. And then suddenly one day it was a knowing like you kind of explained, and knowing 6 weeks ago that you're ready, Lynn, it's done. And honestly, Lisa, it was done in the snap of a finger. No cravings, no struggle. It was just internal. I don't know why. I just believe it was source that said, listen, it's time, Linda. I'll take away all your cravings. I'll make this easy for you, but it's done. And it was done.
Well,
Dana,
we can decide, and our body will tell us. So, for example, I will still have a glass of wine on occasion now, but for 6 months, I did nothing. Focus just on healing.
Yeah, so you could reset your body back to its healthy pivot point, right? That place where we're all wired.
Exactly.
In our last segment, well, you know what? We're going to take a break, then I'll come back with this big question, so I don't have to cut you off, my friend. I want to invite everyone to visit Lisa at spiritualsugar.com. Grab a copy of her book, give it as a gift to friends and women in your life who may be struggling with a diagnosis, not just a cancer diagnosis, and or women who you say, come on, I love you enough to want you to take care of yourself. Here's some tools to help you do so. So visit spiritualsugar.com, and we'll be right back, my friends.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Your worth is not determined by the number on the scale. You are enough right now, exactly as you are. If you're like many midlife women, you've thought, if I could just reach my ideal weight, I'd be so much happier. What we're really craving is our own love and acceptance, and Sarah Haas is that guide for your journey. Sarah is a women's weight release expert and body love coach, and walks alongside midlife women ready to say yes to self-care, self-compassion, and body love so they can become the healthy, vibrant, and unapologetically confident women they're here to be. Her holistic approach integrates nutrition, body movement, and self-care to nurture body, mind, and spirit. Visit sarahhaaswellness.com for supportive resources, programs, and more for midlife women ready to reclaim their health.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Are you ready to create and live the divinely guided life intended for you? A life not bound by your past or tied to a specific future. A life beyond your fears and what-ifs that is filled with limitless possibilities. Experiencing an empowered life of fulfillment, joy, and connection is possible when you embrace a spiritual solutions-centered lifestyle. Through her transformational teachings and programs, Lisa Hermata, empowered Life View Guide, life transformation mentor, and founder of Love is the Seed, empowers women to break the barriers holding them back from living their sacred truth so they can find greater connection with their inner wisdom and their divine source to co-create a life that brings peace, joy, and self-acceptance. Visit loveistheseed.com for positive guidance and valuable resources to support you in embracing an empowered life view.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
You're listening to Inspired Conversation. Thanks for joining me today. I'm with Lisa Manyon, the author of Spiritual Sugar. So in this last segment, Lisa, I want to talk about how has facing mortality changed your life?
Well, first of all, it's definitely not for the faint of heart, as you know. It required me to show up for me, to realize how in many ways, I have been giving to others, and sometimes at the expense of myself, which is not something I plan on doing anymore, right? That's another choice point. And it has taught me to really, truly value and cherish every moment and every second, and to make really sound decisions about what energy is allowed in my life and what energy is not allowed in my life. Prior to this, I used to have a 3 strikes and you're out rule for people, right? And give people a little bit more grace. Now I go back to that quote by Maya Angelou about, when people show you who they are, believe them. I believe that's who said it. And she's right. She's so right. And we know what feels good in our energy field and our trajectory in our lives. And really, that's all that we need to have in there. At least for me, that's my personal stance now. Show me who you are, I believe you, and I'll release you unless it's positive. And we're going to, co-create some beautiful things in this lifetime.
I'm with you, whether it's friends or family, or sometimes just even business relationships, that because we all shift and change, right? And I love how you described it, because you release them with love, not with judgment, not with anything. It's like our paths are done. And I believe this. Everyone that comes into our life is to give us a blessing or a lesson, or sometimes a blessing, like combination of both, right? And it doesn't mean that we're meant to continue the journey for the rest of our lives. Everyone has a reason for crossing our paths. And once I started seeing things that way, I didn't try to hold on to things that maybe weren't meant to be there in the first place. They were just meant for that one moment in time to deliver some type of message. Have you found that to be true too, Lisa?
I absolutely have. And I love how you articulated that. And I also have a really, it's kind of a mantra of mine that I use now. And it's like, you know what? Forgiven, access denied. If it isn't meant to be in my life anymore, there doesn't have to be any animosity. There can just be closure and release with love, so that we can make the room and space in our lives for those people and places and experiences that truly light up our soul.
Yeah, because that's so important. And I love that you said that, because, when we're younger, we don't know any better, and we don't know about energetics and all that. You're like, oh yeah, that bugger. You carry the story, especially like with ex-boyfriends when you're young. And now I see it as, why would I carry that energy? Why would I want that for myself? That's why blessing and release, as Dr. Deborah Rebo writes a lot about blessing and releasing, is why would I do that for myself? Why would I carry energy of regret, shame, self-condemnation for a past relationship? That's only going to affect my health. It's a weight. So now, like you said, bless it, forgive it, and release it. And it's so powerful, but it's part of keeping ourselves healthy too.
It is. And I love that you bring up the energetics of people and relationships. I go into that deeper in the book, because so many people do not realize that any kind of physical exchange means that you're picking up the energy of that other person and all of the other persons that may be attached to them in any way. And if you think about it that way, I believe you become more select in who you want in your energy field and how that can really impact you.
It's so important, because we all have, I don't want to say met someone, but, either entered a room and you're kind of drawn to certain people just energetically, right? And there's some that the moment you meet them, like you and I, Lisa, even though we haven't met in person, there was this energetic knowing, right? So many times over the years, I used to walk into rooms and would just know who I was drawn to. And I see now that was because my energy was leading the way. And then there was other times I didn't listen to that. And I'd get like the hair on the back of my neck, the little bumps going, oh, this isn't the right conversation to be having. It was a knowing. But again, I didn't know how to check my energy. Now I go by how I feel immediately, because my body and energy always knows before my intellect does.
It's true. And that's a very important point. We can ask our bodies what our body needs, and our bodies will let us know. And sometimes we'll just be shown by specific cravings. And like sometimes if we're really stressed, we might start craving carbs. We don't really want the carbs. We want something different. So when you learn to read your body and what it's requesting and what it really requires, you're able to course correct and take better care of yourself.
So true, so true. Something earlier you were talking about nature. I'm curious, what's your go-to practice to get centered and grounded? I think we all need that in this world. That's why I'm asking you to share it. I think we're all going 100 miles an hour and forget what it's like to feel centered and grounded. So as we close out this segment, I'd love your guidance on that to give our listeners something to hold on to.
Yeah, you hit it directly when you mentioned nature. So my go-to is resetting in nature, and I understand that not everyone can do that. So meditation is a huge part of how I reset. And that doesn't mean that you need to sit, in a yoga pose, chanting mantras. Meditation comes in many forms. Do something that you love. That's meditation. Cooking can be meditation. Walking can be meditation. Painting can be meditation. Setting intentions in your journal can be meditation. A quick prayer can be a meditation. So many people think, well, I can't meditate because they can't sit still. Maybe you're not meant to be a person who sits still and does a silent meditation. Maybe you're meant to be a person who walks around and gets invigorated with their meditation. There's no wrong way to do it. But the best advice I have is to find a way that you can tap into that inner sweetness of your soul so that you know exactly what you need.
Oh, I love that. And as we come to a close, I want to state how important that was, because I was one of those for probably 40 of my 60 years that would think I was failing at meditating because I could not sit still. And I pictured exactly what you said, right? The lotus pose and all that, until one day my moment came. And I was so tough on myself, Lisa, because I was on a spiritual path at that time for 20 years. I'm like, I can't meditate. I'm failing meditation class, right? And I realized that looking out the window while I love hand washing dishes. I have a dishwasher, but sometimes I hand wash. Looking out the window, washing my dishes with intention, looking at nature and the squirrels playing, that was meditation. Exactly what you said. Like, I love coloring mandalas in a coloring book and saying an affirmation. I realized, Linda, you've been meditating for years. So thank you for bringing that up, because I know there's many out there, Lisa, like myself, who thought they couldn't meditate. I'm a big fan of guided meditations. I go to sleep with one every single night. That's my way. So I'm so glad that you brought that up for those out there who are like, that I can't do it. You're already doing it and you just don't know it.
I relate. I went through that myself, which is why I include all of these lovely tools and suggestions and journal prompts within Spiritual Sugar, because it truly is a journey of awakening for the person reading the book. So it's not just a little light read to breeze through. There'll be journaling and introspection required should you choose to participate.
Well, I want to encourage everyone to participate. I love the subtitle, The Divine Ingredients to Heal Yourself with Love. I want to invite everyone to please grab a copy of spiritualsugar.com. And I have to tell you, hint, hint, it makes an extraordinary holiday gift for the women in your life. So grab a couple extra copies, give them away as gifts. We can all use a little more love in our lives these days. Lisa, I just want to say thank you for just following the spiritual breadcrumbs, my friend, that in publishing this book and sharing it with the world.
Thank you so much. It has definitely been a labor of love, and I am so delighted that it is out there for people to enjoy.
And I want to invite everyone again. I want to say Lisa's website one more time. It's spiritualsugar.com. Grab a copy today, my friends. Until next time, choose love, choose joy, choose happiness, my friends. Blessings.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey, that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.